and we wouldn't have got that without this podcast. So it's a great honor to be able to kind of carry the mantle, carry the torch, and interview some of these people and find out exactly what makes them tick and what best practice looks like, and their experience and their journey as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touch on the journey thus far, and I think for me, certainly, as we've discussed this, as it's grown in interest, and we're getting a lot of engagement and feedback from so many people that we've yet to meet out there in the profession. You feel this sense of responsibility as well towards the listeners, and that inspires you to keep looking for more inspiration, for more information, for more views and perspectives to share with everyone. So for me, certainly that's been the overriding sort of feeling towards the where we are today. How about you?
Yeah, the same. I mean, we come from a place of gratitude, both of us, and there's a duty of care that once we got this ball rolling and people are actually listening, that we would continue it as long as they were listening, and as long as we're bringing something of value. Yeah, it's just been a really interesting experiment, and I don't think I call it anything else, because every episode is different. Every episode garners a different listenership. Every episode we talk about totally different things, and I'm just looking forward to the future. It looks like we've got so many different facets of project controls that we can cover, and then we will talk about season 2 later. But it's almost like we can go to the next level, and maybe even get a little bit deeper, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and as you say, we'll chat a little about next season in a bit. But also just to remind ourselves that we've tried to maintain the style, and hopefully improved in terms of quality. But the style is, we're always trying to aim for raw, informal, but informative, and I think that's coming across. I think people appreciate that because it is being authentic. It's not trying to teach or tutor or speak at people, but rather just have an open, honest conversation around various topics. So that's a lot of people are appreciating that as well. So hopefully that will continue, and from our side it definitely will. But hopefully people will appreciate that going forward as well.
Yeah, well, I also acknowledge all those interviewers out there. It's not always easy to find the right questions, and I think you talk about growth. One of the things I've noticed since episode 1 is that the quality of our questioning and the timing, the quality of our guests, as well as it's all starting to move in a really nice direction. And what I'm interested in now is how do I retain that information? And sometimes you just have to go back and listen to a few of the episodes again.
Yeah, absolutely. I have listened back to a number of them just to remind myself as well, and go, actually, yeah, we spoke about that. We said that. I surprised myself.
Yeah, you get on the episode, you're like, we spoke to someone about that. Who was that now? Was it Michael? Was it Holly? We don't know now. It's you got to go back and listen to them again. And at some point we should make that available, the information in text form.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look to improve, we'll definitely be adding, anything that can help listeners out there retrieve information easier. Number one, as you say, Val, it helps us to retrieve information easier. But number two, it'll be great for listeners to also go and easily find what they're looking for. But we're talking about episodes. Let's take a bit of a time hop back in the time machine to our very first one. Season 1, episode 1, the attitude toward PMO was the first one. Let's talk about the first 3. So the first episode was the attitude toward PMO. The second episode was talking about PMO, so why podcast and what PMO is about. And the third one was why resource or cost loaded schedules. And I think this was where we were really just sort of cutting our teeth. We weren't sure what the show was even going to be called. We had really dodgy microphones. We were recording in our cars at times. And we're just jabbering on. What do you remember about those times?
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember having a big cup of coffee, going out to the car, and I didn't want to wake up anyone in the house. We had not set the house up properly for podcasting, So wherever I went, I was bound to wake up the kids or something. So I went in the car, and then I just had my AirPods on, and then we just thought we'd have a crack. And I had the lights real low. I don't want to see myself. I don't want to hear myself. But I enjoyed the conversation, and we just went on and on. And I think the other thing was trying to get out what's in my head about what I think about PMOs and what we think was important. I think that was good to just vent some of those topics out and get a bit of a run, and also get a bit of chemistry with you as well, as in terms of how we bounce off each other. Because I think over time we probably haven't noticed as much, but we've started to pick up each other's kind of mannerisms and styles and the form of questioning, and it's made it very easy now. But at the start, I think there was a lot of just talking back and forth like you do on a phone call. But we've maintained that style too, which I really like. Like the style has stayed the same. We haven't changed the way we talk about things. We've probably just got better microphones and a bit more space, but that's about it. But I really, really enjoyed those first couple of episodes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kind of just looking back, and we were really stumped. We're like, what do we actually talk about on this? We know we want to share, but what do we share? What do people want to hear? We were really sort of flying blind. So we just, as you said, we felt just jabbered on about random things. But yeah, I mean, the attitude toward PMO, people found that one quite interesting, based on downloads. Talking about PMO, why podcasting and what PMO is all about was a bit of a continuation, I guess, on episode 1, but also a little bit around why we started the podcast. But that was sort of us, I think, just exploring a little bit. And then I think we really found our groove by the 3rd episode, where we spoke about resourcing or cost loading schedules. Now, we've always said, between you and I, we might not be the experts, but what we are willing to do is put ourselves out there and share our views and why we think certain techniques, views, topics, opinions are important. And I think this is episode 3 is the first time we really put ourselves out there to talk about something quite specific, and that was resource and cost loading schedules.
Yeah. And I thought that was important because at the time I think I was doing something with a client. And so it was just topical for me to talk about it, almost like therapy. But the fact that some believe that it's not necessary, and perhaps it is on smaller projects, but when you get to mega projects, I really find it difficult to understand how you don't link your costs and your resource profiles together. So I kind of went to town on that one.
No, absolutely. And we're still seeing it today. So maybe someone out there can tell us how to do cost and scheduling without it being linked. But yeah, anyway, maybe with great difficulty. So crack on to episode 4, Val Matthews, A Career Journey. I think this one we kind of went, well, maybe listeners want to know a little bit about us.
We did. We said, let's open the can on ourselves and just kind of unwrap the career path. I think it gave a premise for the fact that you don't come from project controls to be in project controls. You don't start off in university and say, I can't wait to do project controls. It's just not a vocation that you can apply for. And then we were talking, I think before we even got on the pod, we were talking about like people fall into project controls and how do you get into it? And we found that we ask this question now on a regular basis. It's like, give us your journey, or what does Michael call it?
Origin story.
That's it. That's the origin story. So maybe I'll change the title on that. But it's good. I think it's great to know, or let people know that this is how you fell into the role, and hopefully they got a lot out of it.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, I mean, what was it like being in the hot seat?
I think it was a little bit confronting, but not too much. I mean, I've shared segments of that story with teammates before. I try not to think about where that's going, and it's going to be on the internet for the rest of the world forever. Too much. But everything else is really interesting, and it's confirmation for me that I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the right spot, and I'm living my passion. Surprisingly, I like project controls that much that I don't see myself doing anything else. Yeah,
absolutely. Which leads us on to the next one, which you gave a bit of a bonus episode. You gave a monologue on what is project controls.